That's a Luka update for us today.
Who? Oh no. Joke. Yeah, he's progressing. He's doing good. Didn't practice, but is in good spirits and had a good day.
Was he able to do anything today that he wasn't able to do yesterday?
That's a great question. I would say, yeah, I think he, is smiling. He's happy. He's in good spirits, and looks like he's improving.
Has he begun lobbying you to try to convince you that he can play to start the series?
No, he has not. But hopefully at some point he does. But not right now. Not today. No.
Knowing the kind of competitor he is, how much do you think it's killing him, knowing that there's a chance he won't play at least to start the series?
Yeah, I think as we talked yesterday, injuries happen. Sometimes they happen at the wrong time, and this is one that just happened at the wrong time. And again, if he can't go, we gotta play without him. And if he can go, we still got find a way to beat a very talented Utah team. With him, doesn't guarantee us anything of winning games, but we all understand that gives us a good chance. But we also have played without him and found ways to win. So if he can't go Saturday afternoon, we gotta be ready, and we've been working all week to get ready. So we'll see.
On the flip side of that, the medical staff here is known as one of the best in the league, I think, reputation-wise.
Yep.
What have you seen from them this week in terms of the hours and just the constant focus and attention to make sure they're good, that all guys are ready to go?
Yeah, I think they have the hardest job, one of the hardest jobs, and that's getting the players ready throughout the season, and also now in the second part of the season, the playoffs. And they have to work on Luka, but there's 14 other guys they have to get ready too for Saturday. So this is a busy time for them, but we have the best in the league, and we truly believe we'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Each coach has their different approach of how to talk to teams during this time of the year. I'm curious from your perspective with this group, what has been your message knowing that you've been through this kind of situation before, and how you communicate that to them as far as their experience is concerned?
Yeah, I think that's a key word is communicate and talk. We talk in the morning before film. We've asked if there's any questions, any concerns. Everybody's been good. No one's had questions yet. But we're taking it, this is a basketball game, and we're going to, give them the answers to the test, and hopefully they can handle that. But we're going to make mistakes on Saturday, and it's how we handle those mistakes and push forward. And this team has been really good at that, of making mistakes and turning the page and having success. So hopefully we can do that Saturday.
Utah relies so much on the three-point shot. How do you chase them off that line and make them shoot more twos?
Yeah, that's. I guess it would be easy to say, but it's hard to do. I mean, they're number 2 in the league at attempts. They shoot a high percentage, and so we have to protect that three-point line. We have to keep them off the free throw line, and we have to rebound the ball. Those are the 3 things that we've been talking about all week, and we're going to have a chance here on Saturday to see if we can do that.
How comfortable are you going small, like going to 5 if you don't have a Lucas rebound? Like that?
Yeah, everything's on the table. We've seen throughout this season playing Davis at the 5, playing Dorian at the 5. If we have to go even smaller, then we will. But we're comfortable. Whatever pitch we have to throw to win the game, we'll try to throw. And if that's playing Dorian at the 5, then we will.
How do you, with someone like Rudy, especially if you have smaller players on the court compared to him, what's the trick to team rebounding where multiple players are boxing him out? What are you coaching players to do in ways to box them out in those situations?
Well, I think you have to be physical because we could be smaller, and you're probably going to have to jump first because he doesn't have to jump. So it's going to take a team rebounding. We're going to have to send multiple bodies to him, and we have to be physical. but we're going to have to jump too. So understanding that he's going to be at times the tallest one out there, and we just have to be physical. And then we have to win those 50-50 balls, to give ourselves a chance if we are small.
What have you seen from his ability to run the floor and get dunks in transition? Rudy's ability to do that, especially if you're working with cross matches that you have to get back to.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best at reading the ball off the rim. And if you don't put a body on him, that's where he hurts you. He gives you second opportunities with the dunk, and then also being able to throw out for another opportunity at another three, which we definitely don't want. So we have to account for him in transition. Cross match, no matter if it's JB, one of our smaller players, we have to make sure that there's always someone trying to box him out.
How important is home court? Because I think we can all agree that Utah is the toughest place in the NBA to play.
Yeah, home court is always important. When you look ahead at the series, if it comes down to one game, you have it at home. But right now, we're just focused on protecting home and having game one, and that's all we can think about is just game one. We can't think about game two yet.
Jason, as you're preparing for them, did they do, because of the similar skill sets of Gobert and Whiteside, did they pretty much play the same way on offense, pick and rolls, coverages on defense on Whiteside's and for Gobert?
Yeah, you look at pretty much talk about, two bigs that can dominate the boards. Defensively, they could be a little bit different, but when you look at the rim protection and then also the ability to rebound and set screens, they do that quite well. So when we talk about Gobert, we're also talking about Whiteside. So just looking at what they both cause offensively, they cause a problem, and then defensively, they protect the paint well.
Is it helpful to have the film of that fourth game, the last game you played in the regular season against them, where they, didn't have the centers and did switch everything, and just having the ability to look at how they might play you guys with a different look?
Yeah, I think all four games are important to watch, and then also just watching other games against other quality opponents to see what they have done in the past that they could present to us. So we've looked at a lot of video, a lot of games. And so I think we're all excited about having this opportunity on Saturday to get this series underway.
Is there a particular point during this week of preparation where you get to a point and say, look, I'm ready to get on the floor, ready to play? Or is it just that continued preparation, knowing that you got games to look forward to going through?
Yeah, I think you take the preparation, the time to get ready. And then after game one, it's about adjustments. But sometimes it's about, can we do something harder? Or do we not do something with any effort? But it's just, it's basketball, and I think a lot of us having this week off, you can't wait for the game to come, and we have an afternoon game, so I think we're all excited because I think we're tired of going against one another. I think our scout team is getting tired too.
Is this center or these centers, could Boban play in this series, and was that a role in you giving him some run there?
Yeah, I think everyone's on is on deck because you never know what card you play that can turn a series. So everybody has to be ready to play on Saturday. And Boban's one that has shown that he's always ready to play when his name is called.
Tell us what was going on at the end of practice there. What's that all about?
Just a competitive shooting drill to finish our practice. We've been partnering up with the same groups now for 3 days, and out of 20 games, me, Dwight, and Jalen have won one. So we're waiting for our comeback. You tell me. Probably not, no.
One out of how many? We got to know the ratio.
At least 20. This is
okay.
At least. It could be up to 40. So, yeah.
It's a ratio.
At least the rest of this team is shooting well.
Yeah.
What's the mood of the team with game one 2 days away, less than 2 days away?
I think the team has, great spirits. The practices are being very competitive. Everybody's very focused. Everybody's buying into everything from off the court stuff to watching film to just everything in general. So, everybody's bought in, and I think everybody's ready to go.
The Jazz like to shoot the three-point shot. What in particular you guys have to do in order to chase them off the three-point line?
I mean, I think I just stick to our defensive game plan. We have a great defensive coach in in Coach Kidd and Sweeney, and we have principles that we've been following the whole year, and I think it's important to be able to maintain and stick to that, and trust our teammates, run them off the line, and be there for one another.
When do you think you guys became really comfortable with all the principles that Sean and the coaching staff and Jason came into the year coaching?
I would say about after Christmas time, everybody started really buying into it, and really seeing the progress of the team and how much defense really helped us. We started winning a lot more games, and overall it was better for us. When we really bought into the defensive side of things.
One of your teammates said that it actually helped with all the new. Sorry. There we go.
Sorry about that.
One of your teammates said what really helped was actually all the new players coming in, the 10-day players, and you guys kind of had to turn into teachers in a way, and that just helped make sure that you guys understood it too, to be able to actually teach it to these new faces coming in.
Yeah, we had so many players come in during that time, during the COVID time. But yeah, I think just in general, we had to go over so many new principles because of these new players, and to be honest, these guys who came in, these 10-day players, they were really bought into what we were doing, and within a couple of days, they learned how to do it, and it showed us this stuff really works, and just continuing to do it. And having these older guys, veterans in the league like Isaiah Thomas and Brandon Knight being bought into that system, I think it just made everybody more comfortable with it and going forward.
What's been the biggest thing that Jason Kidd has instilled into you this season from a confidence perspective about just playing your game and continuing to develop that sees you at this point now being a real contributor to this team?
I just think sticking to who I am. I'm young. I'm gonna make mistakes. That's one of the things I used to I just used to get mad at myself for making mistakes during my rookie year when I got my opportunities. But everybody makes mistakes; they're gonna come, and just make sure next time you don't do it. That's the biggest thing that I've been able to learn from him and take away from him. So apart from that, everything is just what's gonna keep you on the court and what's gonna help the team. And for me, that's defense and doing the little things, and the rest will come. Yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's one of those things. I'm more excited than anything. A little nervous, but nervous is a good thing. And I love this team and everything they're about. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going balls to the wall and just competing as much as I can and doing whatever I can to help the team out.
When was your last real playoff or elimination experience? Because you missed out on
I just had one game in Las Vegas in the Pac-12 tournament. So, the last one we won. Keep it like that. And, yeah.
Taking back to high school.
High school national championships. We won the national championships, so yeah.
So it's been a couple years now.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to it.
Is that feeling, it's different than like an 82-game season or like last year when you weren't necessarily a part of the rotation. What is that feeling like? What do you expect that to kind of just be like to feel like it's a game this time?
I think it's going to be a good feeling. I think being 82 games, more games means it's more meaningful. The more we're together as a team, the more meaningful the game is. So no matter what the game is, 30 to 82, I'm going out there with the same goal to come out with the win, and yeah.
You guys are the slowest team in the league, but you obviously are a transition player and push it, and you're one of the few, one of the one guys who is always looking for that. How does the coaching staff tell you when to look for that or when to find your opportunities, and does it feel like you bring something different just compared to how Luka plays half court a lot?
At the end of the day, it's just it's a game of basketball. So no matter even if we play at a slow pace, the game changes in so many aspects throughout the game. So there's going to be opportunities for fast breaks, transitions. So just making sure that I'm there and I'm ready for that opportunity. We do play slow, but at the same time, it's weird because there's a fast side to us as well, getting the ball out and pushing the ball up the court and playing in the transition. So I feel like it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Right.
Utah shoots a lot of three-point shots, Dwight. What do you guys got to do in order to chase them up the three-point line?
It's definitely a big emphasis for us. That's something they do very well. So locking into the scout, knowing who shoots best from where's, and that's like you said, that's one of the things they do extremely well. So it's a big focus for us.
What's the challenge trying to hold down a guy like Rudy because he's a big old dude and then Clark of the middle?
Say it again.
What's the challenge trying to hold down Rudy and Rudy Gobert in the middle because he's a big guy?
Yeah, it's definitely a big challenge. He has size, length. They use him well. He can finish around the rim at an extremely high rate. So we have to definitely be ready to help rebound, send in 2 guys when necessary to try and keep him off the boards, because offensively, his ability to get them second possessions, third possessions, and keep balls alive is a big part of their offense, and leads into them also getting a lot of threes too. So that's definitely going to be a big emphasis for us. But it's going to be a team effort. We're going to have to lock in all 5 guys on the court every possession and make sure we have our scout in the front of our mind.
Last year in the playoffs, you guys didn't win a game at home, but this year, especially compared to years past, it's been much stronger when Jason was protecting home. Can you put your finger on why that may be, or what it's kind of like for you guys and playing at home?
As compared to last year?
Yeah, or not winning any of the 3 playoff games at home last year, and then coming into this year and having a really good home record.
I think the biggest thing for us is to lock in every single night, regardless of where we are. I think we have a group of guys that are hungry and ready to compete. We've had a great week preparing, and we're going to continue to prepare every single night, every single practice we have leading up, and we're going to learn from every game that we play. So the focus is going to be on winning games regardless of what logo is on the court.
Sorry, I was going to say, we get to see some parts of the competitiveness of practice today and yesterday. Is it like that the whole session, or you guys turn it on when the cameras come on?
No offense, but we don't really notice when you guys come in.
You were particularly effective in the regular season, those middle 2 matchups, with Luka on the court, both of those games. How are you effective against the drop coverage, which I think theoretically is kind of designed to take away the roller, but you still, I think, shot like 7 of 26 or something like that?
Finding opportunities. That's the biggest thing, is remaining active. There's going to be some space between him and I if he's in a drop, so being able to get downhill on pitches or finding opportunities to offensive rebound or just get into spaces is going to be important to remain as active as possible.
We were talking, I think, a couple weeks ago about how good Luka is at that kind of 5 to 10 feet range. How can Spencer and Jalen adjust and adapt to that if it is the case that Luka can start the series or is available to start the series?
They're both very good in that range as well. Both of them have great mid-range pull-ups. So the threat of that gives them a lot of opportunities, and they can also find guys. So, like I said, some of the other questions, we've been spending a lot of time on the scout and looking at what we can do to be successful, and we're going to focus in on that every single night.
You've had a great season this year, obviously coming back from the Achilles injury. What did it mean to see Kevin Durant acknowledge the fact that your progress has been what it has been, and knowing the road that he's also been on that you shared with him based on coming back from the same Achilles injury?
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that for sure. He reached out early in the recovery as well to me personally and showed support. And of all people, he knows that it's a grind and takes a lot of effort, a lot of focused work to get back. So that was cool to see him acknowledge me like that. That was cool.
Do you feel extra affinity, or is there almost maybe brotherhood is too strong, but among people NBA players who suffer Achilles and have to go through that same process?
I don't know. We don't have like an Achilles group chat or anything, but I think you do recognize the work that guys have to do to go through it, to get through that sort of injury. But to play at this level, an Achilles injury is tough, an ACL injury is tough, a high ankle sprain is tough. The guys are playing through things that you guys may not know about on a nightly basis. So I think there's a collective mutual respect for one another if you're out there playing, knowing that it's not as simple as just tying up the laces. There's things that everybody has to work through and protect themselves from physically to be able to compete at this level. So I think everybody has that respect for one another.
And Dwight, kind of playing off that, this season you came in, it's been said now that you were one of 5 players to play all 82 games of the regular season. So coming off from that injury, was that kind of a point of emphasis that you wanted to make, come back stronger than ever? What does that say about your durability this season and your rehab?
It was definitely a goal of mine was to play as many games as possible and to contribute to a winning culture and a winning season. So it was definitely a big accomplishment for me.
And then obviously there's a lot of wear and tear through the season anyway. We were talking about how in March, it was said that you got hit in the face a lot of times, a lot of physicality, a lot of fouls against you. So how do you just prepare for that kind of physicality throughout a long season?
A lot of time in the weight room, a lot of time in the training room, but also a lot of time not thinking about it. I think if you're constantly preparing to get hurt, that's when you get hurt. So I think you prepare in the best way you can to strengthen your body and put yourself in the position to be successful, and then you just go out and play. That's it.
Did you feel a certain amount of pride when you realized you were going out for your 82nd game? You made it to the end in every game?
No, yeah, it was definitely a good feeling for sure. Oh yeah, this one should last at least another 6 months. Yeah, exactly.